person I am introducing you to today, B, lived for 20 years in a traditional home, but never experienced joy or peace of mind. After making many significant life changes, including being homeless on the streets, she finally found the peace of mind she was seeking, living in her SUV. Hello, B.
Hi, Carol. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, I always say I meet the most interesting people unexpectedly, and that was the case when I met you.
Oh, thanks.
Now, you have been living in your van for how long now?
Just about 2 months.
So, and what kind of van is it?
So this is a 2017 Dodge Journey SUV.
Okay, and you were married for 24 years.
I was, yeah.
And this is a sensitive topic, but you've given me permission to talk about it. But you were married and you had a wife and you were living as a man for
Yes.
24 years.
I was.
And then you were telling me how you just had been, since you were a teenager, dressing up in women's clothing, and
Yeah.
you weren't living your authentic life.
I wasn't.
And well, what made you decide how old are you?
So I'm 59 now.
What made you decide at 59 that it was time to make a change?
I just felt sad that I wasn't being true to myself. That I wasn't living the way that I wanted to live. It was depressing. I got tired of letting people tell me who I am and how I should dress and how I should act based on the body I was born with. And so I just came out in public dressed the way I like to dress all the time, and it wasn't, there was nothing to be afraid of the whole time. I wish I would have came out sooner, because it seems that everyone's response to me is fine. There was nothing to be afraid of.
So let me ask you this: was there something that happened? Was there like the last straw on the camel's back? Was there something that precipitated this decision, or had it just been building up?
It had been building up for a long time. The frustration with hiding. It started about 10 years before I finally came out. You know,
Okay.
there was the hiding and dressing up as a 14-year-old, and then as I got older, it became more of a serious passion. But I was terrified to go outside dressed like this. It was just too frightening, so I just wouldn't do it.
So as a result, you were telling me that as a result of your decision to live the way that you felt that you needed to, that you filed for divorce.
Yeah.
But then you ended up being homeless.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that, or tell
Yeah,
my viewers a little bit about that?
Okay, sure. I filed for divorce in 2019, and then I moved out of the house, and I was camping out for a while out in the riverbed and whatnot around here in tents and doing that routine.
So you basically were homeless.
Yeah, I was homeless, and then I moved in and started renting a room from my now ex-wife, and but then work slowed down, and I wasn't able to pay my rent anymore, so I had to move into my van.
But now before that, you told me you actually slept on the streets.
I did, yeah.
On the sidewalk for 5 days.
Yeah, because of the tumult and the drama between my ex-partner and I. My car ended up being trapped at her house for a few days.
Trapped meaning you couldn't get it.
I wasn't able to get it without law enforcement.
Okay.
So I had to sleep on a sidewalk for about 5 nights, and then I finally got my car back, and so now I'm camping in my car.
So basically you went from living in a sticks and bricks home for many years to camping out in the riverbed homeless.
I've done that, yeah.
Then you went back and rented a room.
Yep.
And then you were again homeless, sleeping on the streets.
Yep.
Until now you're in your van.
Yeah. Really not anything to be afraid of if you I don't know how to say it without sounding like like I know everything, but there's an art to it,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to adapt to things that are happening around you.
Explain a little what you mean when you say you have to adapt to things that are around you.
Well, sure. Coming outside and living in a car, you never know what's going to happen, and sometimes scary things can happen. Sometimes you just don't really know. Like, you might think that you're going to have a space available to park at, and then there's no space, so then you have to adapt to that. Or maybe the soup kitchen ran out of the food that you wanted, so that was going to be your food for the day, and then you have to adapt to that. And just all the unexpected stuff that happens. But it's kind of an adventure if you can see it that way. And I think that a positive mindset and a positive attitude is tremendously helpful when you're in a situation like this, where you can't pay rent anymore, you can't stay in your house anymore, you gotta go, and it's not a choice, you have to leave. So you can be depressed and sad and miserable and angry, or you can choose to adapt to it, to decide, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to succeed because I have to do this, and I don't want to be miserable, I don't want to be sad, I don't want to be upset and angry at the world because I don't live in a house, I don't live in a building. Because I know that many people who do live in houses are mentally homeless. They are so terrified all the time of losing that home, and it's not really their house at all, it's the bank's house. Until the mortgage is paid, that house belongs to the bank.
You know what, even after the mortgage is paid, there are a lot of people having to move out of their homes because they can't afford the taxes now.
That's right.
So you were telling me that you really have a sense of security living in your van because you feel like no one can come and tell you you have to move, or the rent's going up, or that you're being evicted, or they want to sell the house.
Exactly.
So you said you actually feel a little more secure.
I do. I feel a lot more secure now. I'm not worried about not making rent this month.
Now, you were telling me you had been working for like DoorDash or something like that, doing that,
yeah.
but business went really down,
It did.
Southern California is very expensive, so you couldn't afford the rent.
Right.
But we were talking, and you said that you're starting a new job, and it's going to have some benefits. It's a union job.
Right.
But you were saying you're thinking of still, even though you will be able to afford rent now, you're still thinking of staying in your van. Why is that?
That's right. I like it. I like this lifestyle. So I was thinking on my way back to the place where I park at night that it really is a glorious life on wheels.
Thank you for the plug again.
Yeah. But it's a surprise because I never thought it would be. I always thought, oh, if I don't live in a house or an apartment, my life is going to be terrible, and everything's going to go wrong, and I'm going to be miserable and cold and wet. But if you know how to live with very little, then you have a lot. And somebody told me recently that a little is a lot if God is in it. And so I'm not endorsing any religious view, but that makes a lot of sense, because when God is in something, you're satisfied and you have gratitude and humility and you're thankful. I'm thankful for what I have. I have a car, I have water to drink, I have food, I have a place to sleep, I have gas in the tank, I have clothes to wear, I have a place to shower, I have beautiful weather, I have a job, I have a way to make money. So why should I be unhappy? Who do I think I am to not have gratitude?
What a wonderful outlook that is, because that will keep you from being depressed, sad, bitter, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And you were telling me I was asking, well, how about if you get this? How about if you get that? And you were saying, I don't want all that stuff.
I don't want it.
You just want to live with as little?
I just want to be happy and be able to live with as little as possible. And the relationship that I was in, my partner was a person who liked to collect lots and lots of things, and they have a word for that, but I'm not going to use it right now. And so getting out of that environment is so refreshing and so liberating, you don't even know. So now I don't want a bunch of stuff. I don't want a bunch of clutter.
Well, why don't we take a tour a short tour of your van,
Okay, sure.
which is a very minimalistic
It's minimal,
type
yeah.
of setup, but you say you're very comfortable and you're happy in it.
I am, but there are people that are a lot more minimal than I am. All they have is a cardboard box and a sidewalk, and they're content. So
Okay.
compared to them, this is not minimal, but if I compare myself to someone in a house, then I guess it's minimal. So.
Okay, well, let's take a look at your
Sure.
minimal
Well, yeah, well,
outlook.